Frontrunner Katie Porter is facing growing calls to exit the California governor's race. Those calls sparked by viral videos, not one, but now there's more than one, of Porter having full-blown meltdowns. Here's a taste.
I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it. Okay. Thank you.
You're not going to do the interview with us?
Nope, not like this. I'm not. Not with 7 follow-ups to every single question you ask.
Every other candidate has answered.
I don't care. I don't care.
Politico with this headline: Katie Porter's viral videos plunge campaign into disaster. It quotes a veteran Democrat strategist as saying, "Is this a disaster? Yes. And the reason it's a disaster is because it amplifies what her reputation already is." Interesting.
So Democrat candidate Katie Porter out in California, where she's looking to become the next governor out there, she's facing backlash and calls to exit the race after that horrendous interview she had with CBS that just went off of the track based on her inability to answer some pretty basic softball questions. Mind you, once again, this is CBS. Wasn't anything hard-hitting or too confrontational. She didn't like the questions, and she was clearly flustered by them. And as a result, it ended up being an epic fail. But yet she wants the people of California to elect her to become the governor of a state that has the largest population in the U.S., as well as the largest economy. And so let's go ahead and jump into that interview so we can see what it was that set her off.
What do you say to the 40% of California voters who you'll need in order to win, who voted for Trump?
How would I need them in order to win, man?
Well, unless you think you're going to get 60% of the vote. You think you'll get 60%. Everybody who did not vote for Trump will vote for you. That's what you're thinking.
In a general election, yes. If it is me versus a Republican, I think that I will win the people who did not vote for Trump.
What if it's you versus another Democrat?
I don't intend that to be the case.
So how do you not intend that to be the case? Are you going to ask them not to run?
No, I'm saying I'm going to build the support. I have the support already in terms of name recognition. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to do the very best I can to make sure that we get through this primary in a really strong position. But let me be clear with you. I represented Orange County. I represented a purple area. Mm-hmm. I have stood on my own 2 feet and won Republican votes before. That's not something every candidate in this race can say. If you're from a deep blue area, if you're from LA or you're from Oakland, you don't have an experience.
But you just said you don't need those Trump voters.
Well, you asked me if I needed them to win.
So you don't
I feel like this is unnecessarily argumentative. What is your question?
The question is the same thing I asked everybody, that this is being called the empowering voters to stop Trump's power grab. Every other candidate has answered this question. This is not
correct. And I said I support it.
So, and the question is, what do you say to the 40% of voters who voted for Trump?
Oh, I'm happy to say that. It's the do you need them to win part that I don't understand. I'm happy to answer the question as you have it written, and I'll answer it.
And we've also asked the other candidates, do you think you need any of those 40% of California voters to win? And you're saying, no, you don't.
No, I'm saying I'm going to try to win every vote I can. And what I'm saying to you is that...
Well, to those voters. Okay, so you...
I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it. Okay. Thank you.
Listen, I don't know how you can explain her even being on the ballot to run for governor of California. And on top of that, there were polls, up until this at least, who knows what's going to end up happening. There were polls that were showing that she was actually leading all of the candidates in the primaries. This is who they were hedging their bet on. And so as soon as things get a little bit uncomfortable, she's ready to shut down and she doesn't want to even do the interview. But yeah, she wants to be the governor of California. What's so hard about answering that question where she feels the need that she has the walk-off set? Is Trump derangement so embedded in Democrats where as soon as they hear his name, they kind of just malfunction and can't even process thoughts coherently?
You're not going to do the interview with us?
Nope, not like this. I'm not. Not with 7 follow-ups to every single question you ask.
Every other candidate has answered.
I don't care. I don't care. I want to have a pleasant, positive conversation in which you ask me about every issue on this list. And if every question you're going to make up a follow-up question, then we're never going to get there.
Ms.
And
Porter,
we're just going to circle around.
I am an investigative
I have never
reporter.
had to do this before, ever.
You've never had to have a conversation with
to end
a
an
reporter?
interview.
Okay, but every other candidate has done this.
What part of I'm me? I'm running for governor because I'm a leader. So I am going to make...
So you're not going to answer questions from reporters? Okay, why don't we go through? I will continue to ask follow-up questions because that's my job as a journalist, but I will go through and ask these, and if you don't want to answer, you don't want to answer. So nearly every legislative...
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you, and I don't want this all on camera.
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you either. I would love to continue to ask these questions so that we can show our viewers what every candidate feels about every one of these issues that they care about. And redistricting is a massive issue. We're going to do an entire story just on the responses to that question. And I've asked everybody the same follow-up questions.
This entire situation is laughable. And the fact that she sat there with a straight face and said that she's a leader, that's why she's running for governor. And yet you can't answer basic questions. You can't handle basic follow-up. I mean, how softball do you want it? She wants to be the next governor of California. Now, she's either done a masterful job of disguising who she really is and deceiving Californians, and that's why there were polls showing that she's leading in the primaries as far as being the Democrat candidate. Or this is who she's been this entire time, which says a whole lot when it comes to the people in California and who they will elect as far as governor. But I mean, Gavin Newsom kind of tells you everything you need to know when it comes to who Californians out there elect and want and running their state. And so now, after demonstrating the inability to answer the most basic of questions in an interview, as we just saw right there are now calls for her to exit the governor race.
Over to California now, where the Democratic candidate for governor, Katie Porter, now facing a growing call to abandon the race, drop out. William LaJeunesse explains what happened here. Hi, William.
Asha, you know, the question for many California voters is, does Katie Porter, Democrats' frontrunner to replace Gavin Newsom, have the temperament and judgment to lead the largest state in the world's fourth largest economy? It comes after not one, but two viral videos of the former three-term congresswoman and failed Senate candidate. Now, in divorce papers, Porter admitted attending anger management classes. In 2006, she dumped a bowl of steaming hot potatoes on her husband's head, burning his scalp, he claimed. She also routinely called him an effing idiot and effing incompetent, he said. In 2023, Porter read The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F in the House chamber. Weeks earlier, a staffer accused her of dismissing sexual harassment allegations and cracking jokes on race. Then in 2021, in a Zoom call obtained by Politico, Porter goes off on a staffer who inadvertently appears in her background.
And the state could lose. Get out of my shot. Okay. You also were in my shot before that. Stay out of my shot.
That staffer was actually trying to help her in the interview. Now, you may wonder why you're just seeing a 4-year-old video. Well, that's because the Biden Energy Department removed that outburst from the video. Porter later said she's trying to improve her staff relations. One competitor says this time she got out of the race. Porter declined to respond to our inquiries. Aisha?
I wonder why.
So it seems like this woman is a lunatic who's been able to get away with it for quite some time now, because, I mean, hey, we are talking about California here, because if it's not her having outbursts like we just saw right there, it doesn't get any better when she thinks she actually makes logical sense. Let's check this out.
The allegation of groomer and pedophile, it is alleging that a person is criminal somehow and engaged in criminal acts merely because of their identity. Their sexual orientation, their gender identity.
So on election night, I went to pick up my daughter from water polo practice, and she's 12, and she got in the car and she was crying. And I said, did someone punch you? Like, water polo is a rough sport. I was like, did someone hit you? Did the coach yell at you? What happened? And she said, Mom, Trump won. Trump's gonna win. And what if I get raped and I need to have an abortion?
President Biden has said that inflation is the #1 priority for the Biden White House to try to get under control right now. As you're out there in California talking to constituents during this re-election year for Congress, how does inflation compare to this newly important, in the sense of the Supreme Court decision pending, abortion issue? How do those two issues compare?
Well, I don't think they compare. I think they actually reinforce each other. So the fact that things like inflation can happen, and it can become more expensive to feed your kids and to fuel your car, is exactly why people need to be able to be in charge of how many mouths they're going to have to feed. So I think the fact that we're seeing this jump in expenses, that we're seeing people having to pay more in the grocery store, pay more at the pump, pay more for housing, is a reason that people are saying, I need to be able to make my own decisions about when and if to start a family. So I don't think we're going to see them. I don't think it's like about comparing them or contrasting them. I think they reinforce for people just how big of a responsibility it is to take care of a family.
A bad judgment.
Right, but the real scandal is not that he wants to do it. It's
kind of old.
What?
Right now. I mean, let's be
Sorry?
Yeah, it's such a
kids
bullshit.
are immature. That's why they're kids.
Not at 21. Not all over the world.
21-year-olds are immature. That's why we don't let them drink until they're 21. That's why some of us don't think that 20-year-olds or 19-year-olds ought to be able to go get AR-15s.
They can go fight.
I think there are arguments.
They can be in the army.
Well, I think that's a discussion we should have, because I think the more we know about
I thought if you vote, you should be able to have a certain level of maturity. They're deciding whether you should be in Congress or not.
Well, and by the way, I win those votes.
What?
And I win those votes, and I'm proud of it. But what I'm saying is,
you just said you win the votes of the immature.
Well, but the immature, first off, immaturity is not necessarily an age thing. You can be immature well.
But you just played the age
adulthood.
card. Yeah. You were like, our argument sucks because we're old, which is
No, I didn't say that. I
that's
said
getting so boring.
And by the way, I'm only 58, just for the record.
That's
not young. Shouldn't we critique each other on the content of our ideas, not on those identity politics?
Listen, at the end of the day, this wasn't a gotcha moment. What this was a clarity moment. When a candidate can't answer basic questions without the threat of walking off, what that should do is tell the voters who are watching everything that they need to know about that person. That's not strength. That's not leadership. That's fragility. You want to be in the governor's office of the largest economy in the U.S. and you can't answer not even tough questions, just basic questions without melting down. California doesn't need theatrics. They need an adult in the room. But the fact that prior to this, in many polls, they showed her leading the race. Listen, if they end up electing her, she will end up becoming the next governor of California because it's a blue state. It will go to a Democrat, whoever that ends up being. Well, they'll get what they get. Anyway, guys, questions, comments, thoughts, drop them down below. You know I appreciate when you guys chime in. Don't forget, you enjoy any part of the content, smash the like button for more. Subscribe to the channel. And don't forget, stick around for the next video, where we talk about Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson's epic fail on CNN. So make sure you go ahead, stick around for that one, and I'll see you next time.